Coming up from the museum, the state of the general aviation industry. We're in Washington, D.C., as you can tell, to take the pulse of the GA sales.
AOPA launches a drone membership. It's the full power of your association, now available for small drones.
We fly the AOPA Sweepstakes 172 and head off to polar bear country. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
The dream is real, a truly affordable personal jet aircraft. The Subsonics kit is priced at only $42,000. Kit plus engine is still under $100K. Add instruments, upholstery, and paint and you're flying at SonicsairCraft.com.
Welcome to Washington, D.C. We're at the museum just down the road from the U.S. Capitol building. I'm Melissa Rudinger.
And I'm Warren Morningstar in for Tom Haynes. We're here to take the pulse of the general aviation industry. The General Aviation Manufacturers Association is holding their yearly State of the Industry press conference. More on that in just a moment. But first, a big moment for your association. You know, aviation has gone through many changes, small drones just being the latest, but they've had a huge impact on all of us who fly or want to fly. The FAA says there will be 7 million drones in the U.S. skies by 2020, and now AOPA is supporting this thriving community with new membership options for remote pilots. AOPA Live's Josh Cochran has more.
The aircraft might look different, but pilots of manned and unmanned aircraft are more alike than different.
Looking up in the blue sky, and whether it's seeing a manned airplane flying or seeing a drone pilot flying, we share the same aviation passion.
Along with a shared passion, remote pilots and manned pilots share many of the same needs.
AOPA is well positioned to provide that service, that protection, and that freedom to fly for the drone pilot.
And that is what the drone membership is all about. Drone members will have the option to get pilot protection services tailored to meet their needs, access to drone-specific news and media, advocacy protecting their freedom to fly, products like insurance, and world-class training.
AOPA right now is partnering with Dart Drones. They are one of the leading educational providers in online and in-person drone training. And we're going to be offering online discounts to our membership as well as in-person training.
AOPA is in a unique position to bridge the gap between the manned and unmanned community, keeping safety as the top priority as drones are integrated into the national airspace system.
I think being the leader in the general aviation community for the past 77 plus years provides the excellent home for the drone pilot. We provide that protection, we provide that knowledge and expertise out in the aviation community.
Josh Cochran, AOPA Live.
Thanks, Josh. Drone membership starts at $69. There are also Drone Pilot Basic and Drone Pilot Plus memberships that come with access to pilot protection services for commercial operators. Click on the membership tab of our website to find all the details. And Melissa, we continue to be involved with drones on the regulatory level too.
We do. In fact, we're on the Drone Advisory Committee, which I'm a member of, and we're meeting tomorrow for our third meeting. We're just getting started.
But a big deal for us was making sure that the drones and the manned aircraft could play nice, right?
Correct. Our mantra is safe integration. And UPS is giving a glimpse of how drones could be used commercially in the future. They just tested an autonomous drone that launches from a delivery truck. After launch, the drone delivers the package and returns to the truck as the driver continues on the route. A setup like this would save delivery drivers valuable time and mileage. Earlier drone delivery tests were focused on urgent deliveries, but this test shows how drones could make day-to-day operations more efficient. Only time will tell the many ways that drones will be integrated into our lives. It may not be the worst of times, but it certainly isn't the best. Here in Washington, the General Aviation Manufacturers Association told the press how the industry did last year. In short, not as good as the year before.
Just looking at the fixed wing segment, shipments fell by 3.9% from 2,331 units in 2015 to 2,241 units in 2016. And the billings declined by 14.1% from $24.1 billion to $20.7 billion for the same reporting companies.
Business jets took the biggest hit in the airplane category, down nearly 8%. Piston airplanes were also down by nearly 5%, and it was even worse for helicopters. Turboprop airplanes are the one bright spot. But ever optimistic, GAMA says things will get better, particularly when the new Part 23 regulations simplifying aircraft certification take effect in August.
I think that this is going to be definitely the springboard for all the exciting things that we are going to see happen in this industry.
It's going to allow us to be a lot more nimble and quicker, because instead of being very prescriptive, it's very clear what the rule is, and it leaves the OEMs now to define the best way to show compliance. We can actually do that development certification process a lot quicker, which will save us money, which means that we can pass those things on to the customers.
And Melissa, that Part 23 really is a big deal, and AOPA was involved in that rewrite.
We were. It was a GAMA-led effort, but we were on the committee, and we think it's really important to revitalize general aviation, new aircraft manufacturing.
And I think this will also have an impact on getting more modern equipment into the legacy aircraft.
It will. It sets us up to do that. We still have some work to do on retrofit, but we're continuing that work.
All right. And while new airplane sales drive the GAMA report, there's another healthy market in refurbishing legacy airframes. AOPA President Mark Baker says there are a lot of perfectly good airframes out there that, with a little updating, can make for affordable flying. Now, the 172 is certainly one, and a leader in the refurbishing business is Yuengling Aviation with the Ascend 172. And that's the heart of the AOPA Sweepstakes 172. AOPA pilot senior editor Jill Tallman takes us along for a look at what could be your airplane.
Just look at her now. Our Sweepstakes 172 has completed its total makeover at Yuengling Aviation. If you happen to see her at AirVenture 2016, you won't recognize the airplane. Under the hood, there's a new 180 horsepower Lycoming 0360. An electronic ignition system from Electro Air removes one magneto and improves fuel burn. And we no longer need to use a cranky key to start the airplane. The centerpiece of the panel is a Garmin G5 electronic flight instrument. The crisp 3.5-inch display shows altitude, airspeed, and vertical speed. It's like having a little glass panel. Then there's the Garmin GTN 650 touchscreen navigator and Garmin angle of attack indicator. We're also giving away an iPad mini that fits into its own mount on the panel. That mount, by Guardian Avionics, powers the iPad and also keeps it cool so it won't overheat while you're out flying. And yes, Virginia, this airplane is ready for 2020 with ADS-B out and in capability. You'll also notice beautiful new upholstery and airbag seat belts from AmSafe for the pilot and co-pilot.
You might remember the airplane had a 1970s vintage paint scheme. Now check out the beautiful metallic base coat.
Scheme designers provided the design that points out some of the many safety and performance enhancements. But after Sun and Fun, the airplane gets a new paint scheme before the winner is announced later this year. Jill Tallman, AOPA Live.
And you can read a lot more about the airplane on our website, and boy, I'd sure like to get that. You know, there really isn't a better airplane than the 172.
You got it. I'm in line first, though.
Well, neither one of us can win it because we work for the company.
True.
But that's,
True.
Well, our life is tough. Well, when we come back, flying to polar bear country.
And flying a panda bear home when AOPA Live this week from the museum continues.
The smoke is on. Perfect start. He's putting on the pressure. What a dramatic finale.
The Red Bull Air Race World Championship returns to San Diego Bay, April 15th and 16th. And play Red Bull Air Race, the game.
And welcome back to the windy balcony of the museum in Washington, D.C. We are lucky today that the weather is so nice, nothing convective in the forecast, but getting a grasp on the convective forecast is about to get easier. The National Weather Service is rolling out a new convective weather product. It's called the Traffic Flow Management Convective Forecast, mouthful, and it's meant to help aviation operators plan routes more effectively.
A heads up to seaplane pilots, the FAA has issued a special airworthiness information bulletin on Cessna 180s and 185s equipped with floats. The feds are worried about damage to the tail cones. Excess movement in the horizontal tail could be caused by a break due to water hitting the tail. Cessna has updated their supplemental inspection documents to address this issue.
If you have an airplane in the 180 or 185 class, you might be looking for rugged places to fly. Well, have you ever considered polar bear country? AOPA pilot editor-at-large Dave Hirschman takes you on a trip to Churchill, Canada.
Polar bear country isn't all that far away. From our starting point at the Surfside Seaplane Base near Minneapolis, the polar bear capital of Churchill is about 900 nautical miles north. That's just a couple of fuel stops in most general aviation airplanes. The float-equipped Piper Super Cub I'm flying is no speed demon, but it's ideal for this journey. Brian Schanche of Adventure Seaplanes is leading our group, and he's been to northern Canada many times. Our first overnight stop is at the Elk Lake Lodge, where we catch northern pike, walleye, and lake trout.
We've had everything from Cessna 150s on floats, Super Cubs, Huskies, 172s, 182s, 185, even an R-44 helicopter all the way up above the Arctic Circle on our tours. People, once they saw the polar bears and the whales, it just made the trip of their lifetime. Well, the quality of fishing is, you'll probably find best anywhere in the world. On this last tour, we caught 3 master angler Manitoba fish, 3 different species, and some people will do that, wait for a lifetime to catch them. You can do a trip like this for probably less than you can go to Disney World in Florida for the week.
Then it's on to Churchill, where Wally Daudrich of Lazy Bear Expeditions takes us out to see polar bears and beluga whales.
Look at a map of North America, a map that indicates how many mammals per square mile. It dramatically increases in the Churchill area. We're here to give people a natural experience. The type of wildlife that we have here, because it's in the Arctic, because it's wildlife that's not hunted, and they get used to us. And typically, and as I explained to people yesterday, when we came across an area where there was about 5 or 6 bears, I said, let's just stop right here and wait. And then the bears recognized that we were there, but then they went along about their business. Sooner or later, a couple of them started nuzzling each other and fighting a little bit. And they would fight, and they'd be scrapping and hitting each other, and then they'd stop. Both of them would look at us, almost smiling, like saying, are we doing good?
This is the furthest north I've gone up into Canada. Lots of sort of east and west travel, but not this far into the north. So. To me, it wasn't really a question of could I do it by myself. It wasn't the safety issue, which I think a lot of people think about. It's really more the camaraderie, having a group of people that you're kind of sharing the experience with and getting to know others that have a like mind. It's been rare that I've ever been around a group of pilots where you don't find a lot of commonality with, and the sharing of an experience like that is a lot of fun. So, you know, where else are you going to fly up a coast, see whales, polar bear, and caribou all in, you know, a period of 10 or 15 minutes? It's I don't know of anywhere else that you could do that. That was very, very unique.
I like a lot of adventurous things and get out there in the woods and fish, and so I decided if I was going to buy an airplane, it was going to be a float plane. The farther you go, the more things you have to deal with. As we sit here in the rain and fog, I've had that experience a few other places too, so there's always going to be weather, and you won't have the experience to deal with it if you don't go out there and try it. So.
Few of the people who came on this trip knew each other at the beginning, but we were all planning future adventures by the time we got home. Dave Hirschman, AOPA Live.
Wow, Dave, you lucky dog. That looks like quite an adventure. Now you can see more of the trip in AOPA Pilot Magazine.
And speaking of going places far away, the DC area is a bit emptier today. We said farewell to one of our most beloved residents this week. Bao Bao is a 3.5-year-old giant panda. She was born and raised at the Smithsonian National Zoo. She took a long general aviation flight from Dulles Airport to Chengdu, China this week. China requires that all pandas born in the world come to the country for breeding and research around the age of 4. FedEx has a special team that transports the world's giant pandas. Nothing else was on the 777 dubbed Panda Express, her caretaker and about 60 pounds of bamboo and other treats. FedEx provided the flight at no cost. So Warren, by chance today I was in a meeting with the president and CEO of FedEx, and he was really excited. In fact, he was wearing a panda tie.
Yeah, folks here in DC really love the panda. They really hate to see Bao Bao go bye-bye.
Indeed. That's going to do it for us this week. A special thank you to the staff of the museum for use of their facilities today.
It really is a special place. If you're ever in DC, you should come visit the museum. And we hope you'll join us next Thursday when we'll be back up in Frederick for another AOPA Live this week.